Do you enjoy being here?
Yes.
Okay, for now, we would like to start our session. My name is Anju Hayashi from Tokyo NODAI, and
My name is Glenn Nameni-Ansa. You may call me Glenn or Gren if you want to sound Japanese. I'm also from Tokyo University of Agriculture.
nice to meet you. So, first, our group motto is capacity building through immersive innovation. Okay, so our first presenter is Judith Appele from University of California, Davis. Her presentation title is Global Sustainability Dialogue through Engaged Education, SDGs Seminar and Symposium. Please invite her to applause. So the next presenter is Vasen Sorapon from Kasset University, Thailand. Okay, the third presenter is the Vanchoy Hem from the Royal University of Agriculture, Cambodia. And the last presenter is Wangari Muthi from Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Okay, we would like to move to our presentation session. So first presenter is Judith. Please come to the stage. Please applause again for her. Okay, Judith, floor is yours.
Hello. Okay. Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. Konnichiwa. Watashi wa Judy desu. Hajimemashite. That's all I got. But welcome, welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about my project here, Global Sustainability Dialogue through Engaged Education, SDG Seminar and Symposium. And I wanted to start off by thanking both my advisor, Dr. Claire Cannon, as well as really all of Global Affairs over at UC Davis. They were the ones who allowed me to have this opportunity, and I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. So just to start off with, what are we working with here? So UC Davis, University of California, Davis, is noted as the greenest university in North America, and we consistently have really high sustainability rankings. However, with this green, sustainable, me on campus with our redwoods, there's a severe lack of awareness of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. If you walk into a classroom and ask students, hey, do you know what the SDGs are? And be like, what are you talking about? And so not only are they overlooked in Davis, even with this green university, they're overlooked in many US-based spaces, even though they do provide a very clear framework for how to make actionable and realistic progress towards sustainability, global health, etc. And so what I wanted to do here is address this gap through an educational and engaging format. So I have two different activities that I did. One is the SDG seminar. This is called Unwrapped, the History and Sustainability of Global Foods. I ran this seminar course from May to June of 2025, and there was a 25 student capacity. This is a graduate level seminar, however, anyone could join it. So undergrads, graduates, any major or field. And so this was a very unique classroom environment with varying levels of expertise. So I am a TA for freshmen, and so there were, 18-year-olds who are just starting out, and then there's like 36-year-olds who are here. So it was a really unique space. And some of the three learning outcomes that I created for this was for students to be able to discuss the complexity and nuances of sustainability, to analyze the differences and similarities between global foods, and to engage in discussions on the sustainability and history of global food. So all of the sustainability with the framework of the SDGs throughout it. So here, the seminar, we have a few pictures. As you see here, can anyone guess what that is, that food item? It's from Italy. Do you know the name? Focaccia. So we discussed one global food each week. Whichever food we discussed, I made at home and then brought it in for everyone to try. So they had a real experiential learning opportunity there. Also, this class was built on the Universal Design for Learning, which is designing for all types of learners. So whether you're a visual learner, kinesthetic, reading and writing, etc., I made sure we had activities for all types of learners, so everyone was included. We also had active learning strategies. So here we have some of the students here. Through discussing the dishes, history, and alignment to sustainability, they had individual group presentations, small and large discussions, gallery walks, and more. And so here, this middle picture here is an example of the gallery walk. So we would have different questions posted on the walls throughout the classroom. And so this one here says, what can we do in Davis to prevent food waste, and then worldwide? And so they would write their answer on a sticky note, and if they agreed with someone else's, they just did a little smiley face. So we had a room full of smiley faces, which was very fun for me. And then here we have the day that we had the potluck. So all of them brought in a food, a global food that they made, and then we are sharing it here. And then that is them trying, I believe that was the focaccia day as well. Yes. The second activity is the SDG Symposium. So this was on April 30th, 2026. This was through the Global Impact Fellows Program through the Global Learning Hub at UC Davis. I was the project lead on this event. That's me right there. And so what this is, I wanted to, again, provide another type of educational experiential learning opportunity for attendees to engage with the SDGs. And I wanted to foster the skills and confidence necessary for attendees to then take local actions. So how we have this lack of awareness, not only building that awareness, but helping them then act upon that. And so this occurred through a series of different events. We had tabling, poster sessions, some panels, and also just networking throughout the whole day. And this here, so my class was with undergrad and grad students, but I wanted to connect more of the campus community. So we had both the undergrad and grad students as well, but then faculty, staff, and community members were all invited. Anyone could attend. It was free. And so as long as they had time, they could come. Here are some pictures from the event. These are some of my team here checking people in. This is me in my fun rainbow SDG skirt that I love. And then that is one of the poster sessions where students are talking about their work there. And so during the tabling session, this was where we had different organizations that were based on campus or around the community, and what their work is related to the different SDGs. So this one here is Fossil Free UC Davis. And so I made all of these different sheets here. So for each organization, they had their own, just to say, this is who we are, this is how our work connects to specific SDGs. We had specific ones for each person or each group. And then we also had a reference sheet for each of them as well, based on the ones they're doing. So not only could the group itself learn more about the SDGs and more clearly see how their work connects, but for people who were walking around, this was a passive way for them to connect and read and see what the SDGs are. So you could both talk to the people or just read. And so here are some of the results, implications. So for the seminar, this was my class, my food class, as I call it. I made sure to have consistent check-ins with students on their perspectives and a reflection of the seminar, so I could continue improving it based on their opinions, reflections, questions, comments. But I also really wanted to understand the implications of the seminar from their point of view with limited bias. It's never going to be no bias, but I wanted to have an anonymous course evaluation survey so they could give me comments without being like, so having something, a little more casual. So I have 3 of the questions that I asked here. I have more, but these are just a few of them. Before taking this class, how familiar were you with the field of sustainability with global dishes? What has been the most interesting to learn about through this course? Do you have any standout moments? and what aspects of this course are most useful or valuable. So here are the questions again and some responses. One person said, I was familiar with sustainability within my own field of agroecology that we talked about, there we go, but less so with food systems or history as a whole, life cycle assessments, greenwashing, advertisement trade, etc. It was great to hear more about the food system and the historical drivers of global dishes. This course was really insightful. And then most interesting, they love learning about the ingredient history and how it shaped our presence, its presence in our diets today. The banana wars, anyone banana? Amazing, we know bananas now. They're fascinating to learn about. So was mochi rice, grown in California. Cool. Hawaii, California, and Japan. Love mochi. And then what aspects of this course were most useful or valuable? They noted it was conducting independent research on a food's history and presenting on it in class. And I actually gave them the recipes, like little recipe cards of each food that I made, so they could then make it at home if they would like to, and share with their friends. And so here are some results from the symposium. So this crazy graph is supposed to look crazy. It's showing just how many types of majors I was able to reach through this. So my goal was to not have only undergrads in the environmental science field. I wanted to reach really our broader audience here. And so we have a mix of seniors, sophomore and freshmen, ITA for freshmen again, so that's probably why there's so many freshmen. But we also have master's, PhD, faculty, and other. I was expecting like 25 people to come and respond, but I got 65 responses. So that was super exciting. And this was the Google form that I made for this and some of those majors here. We did have a high amount of environmental policy, but also we had Russian, we had animal science, biomedical engineering, we had a whole bunch. It's super cool. And then here is the tabling session and panel session. So by encompassing a wide variety of groups across the community, we were able to spread the word about the SDGs and show attendees how they can progress the SDGs in their own fields in a realistic, relevant, and actionable way. So I just have here different organizations and what SDGs they related to. And then some challenges and perspectives. So these I made myself and they had never been done before. And so that's kind of crazy. And so the seminar itself was not on the general course calendar, so I had limited reach. It was really based on who I could flyer to, who I could like spread the word to. It was also graded pass, no pass instead of an A, B, C, D, etc. letter grade. And there was no general education credit. So really it was just for fun. And so here, where I could see the growth of it in the future, it could be modified for our new food studies minor that we're just starting out now, and it could be sustained through a few campus programs. So then it's not just for fun, there's a little bit more university backing behind it. And then for the symposium, again, first time ever doing this, could grow through the support of Global Learning Hub, which is how I ran it through, and also have funding, promotion, and modification. Conclusion here, how does it relate to our theme? So I was pushing the boundary for what engagement and education on sustainability can look like, as they had both never been done before. And then specifically about UDL and the symposium, the seminar, sorry, I wanted to talk about how it's a strength and research-based guide to the design of learning environments that are accessible, inclusive, and challenging for every learner. And so supporting this learner agency and inclusivity. And having fun events, fun activities. And that's it, and that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you for Judith for a wonderful presentation. So we can learn from Judith's presentation. It was about education on food, sustainability, and the SDGs brought together undergraduate and graduate students from different fields through hands-on learning. So for now, we would like to invite you for the Q&A session. If you have any questions or comment for her, please feel free to raise your hand.
Hello, I'm Maria from the Lviv of Ukraine, and I really wanted to ask you, how are you looking for your participants for your first seminar? Because it will be so interesting to hear, because I didn't hear anything about promotion, so that's it.
Yeah, so the seminar, the food class that I taught, that's the one that you're talking about.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, it was like a class. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a class and then the symposium. I had two different activities. You want to know about the class or the?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this one, I really promoted it through word of mouth again, telling all of my friends on Instagram and everything, join my class. This is the thing I made. I made a syllabus and everything. So I had all the learning goals and what we were going to do week by week. So students knew what they were signing up for. And so I sent it out also to email listservs for my grad group and then other professors who were in charge of other grad groups. So I was really just anyone, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Gabriela from University of São Paulo in Brazil. I really like your project. It's very like a fun, inclusive way to learn. I would like to know how we could adapt for the community outside the university. If you plan on doing, or how do you think we could do it? That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. Where I see it going in the future, I think it would be easiest to continue with a university backing for all of it, but maybe not just Davis, maybe our buddies up in UC Berkeley. So seeing that transition, I think is a little bit more natural. But if I'm trying to invite more of the Davis community and maybe like the surrounding towns as well, for that, I would want to work with the local businesses. So talk to the people who are actively working and living in the town and seeing the type of work they're doing and how they can connect to the SDGs, as well as what activities they would find beneficial. So a lot of mine were the paneling, the poster presentation, things like that are very much professional development focused for students and other people who would like to practice those skills. So that was the reason behind a lot of that, was providing a free, engaging, fun way to enhance their professional development skills. But if it's with community members, they may have a different perspective on that. So I would want to ask them what their goals and wishes are and then cater to that.
Thank you so much. Or any other kind of question they have? Yep, please.
Oh, thank you for the wonderful presentation. My name is Job from Tokyo NODAI. I wanted to understand, are you targeting all the SDGs or there are specific SDGs that you have focused on your project? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So for the symposium, we went to all of them, all 17. So we had different organizations, so different booths. So we have Fossil Free, UCD right here. So this one, they were connected to 7 and 9. So we didn't have 17 different organizations. We had, I believe, 8, and they each had like 2 or 3. So all of those were represented there. And then for the food class, the seminar, that was kind of more of a focus on the food-based ones, believe it or not. But I like to tackle some of the broader ones, such as climate action or partnerships for the goals. So the class one, I tried to sprinkle in some of the other ones. And then my work specifically, as I see it evolving in the future, I am more passionate about SDG 4 quality education and then 13 climate action. So most of my work will likely be in those two.
Thank you for your answer.
Of course.
Great, thank you so much. So unfortunately, time is up. So please, thank you for your wonderful presentation for Judith. Then please do warm applause for her again. All right, so we're going to move to next presenter, Basin Salpon from Kasasit University, Thailand. His presentation title is Learning from Coexistence, a youth that experiential conservation model inspired by the Eastern Saras crane reintroduction in Thailand. Okay, please make big applause for him and invite.
おはようございます. Good morning, respected professors, distinguished guests, fellow students and friends. My name is Basin Sarporn, a third-year medical student from Kasetsart University, and today I will be presenting my project titled Learning from Coexistence, a youth-led experiential conservation model inspired by the Eastern Saurus crane reintroduction in Thailand. As you can see, that's a photo of me when I was very young. Okay, so. Now, firstly, you might be wondering, why is a medical student presenting a project on environmental conservation, right? Well, for me, conservation and medicine are connected through the same purpose, protecting the systems that sustain life. I've had a long-standing passion for conservation since I was very little, but more importantly, through my current works with doctors, professors, and policymakers on a healthcare systems transformation project, I've come to understand something fundamental. That health cannot be defined solely by the physical and mental well-being of people. It must also include the social, economic, and environmental systems that sustain life as well. And this is what in healthcare we now call planetary health. And this is this perspective is what drives my work today. The problem: we live in a time where humanity is capable of sending humans into space and imagine life on another planet. Yet, the ecosystems that feed, protect, and sustain us all on Earth are under increasing pressure. It raises an important question. Are we investing enough effort into understanding, protecting, and coexisting with the environment we all depend on? These environmental problems are reflected on a local scale in my home country, Thailand. As agricultural systems are degraded, biodiversity is lost, and environmental instability takes effect. A powerful example of this is the Eastern Saurus cranes, or ESCs for short. Once native to Thailand, they went extinct in the wild in the 1980s due to habitat destruction and humans misinterpreting them as a threat to their rice crops, despite actually feeding primarily on aquatic plants and insects. However, through conservation efforts, the species was successfully reintroduced back into rice farming landscapes in Buriram province in 2011. At first glance, this appears to be a conservation success story, right? But if we look closer, it reveals a deeper issue. Because while the project itself is successful, it depends heavily on local knowledge, community participation, long-term behavioral change, and continuous management, factors that are not easily transferred or sustained beyond that specific context. And so, in other words, we have learned how to restore a species, but we have not yet learned how to ensure that conservation continues, spreads, and is carried forward by the next generation. And I believe that is where the problem lies. The problem today is not a lack of conservation efforts, but rather a lack of effective, continuous, and inclusive strategies that meaningfully engage communities and youths over time. Because without engaging youths, conservation risks becoming short-term, project-based, and dependent on specific stakeholders, rather than a system sustained across generations. To develop this initiative, I combined long-term experience with research. Over the past 10 years, I've been actively involved in more than 30 conservation projects in Thailand, working alongside conservationists, local communities, and youth volunteers. These experiences made me realize that conservation isn't just about protecting species, but it's about working with people. In 2022, I deepened this understanding through a year-long extended project qualification in which I received full marks from the exam board. The study focused on understanding how the reintroduction of the ESCs has had an impact on the local communities, as well as understanding what I call the effective conservation cycle. Through literature reviews, field observations, interviews, and engagement with local communities, I saw how conservation affects and is affected by people's lives. I got to experience and see local farmers, how they adapted their practices, reducing chemical use, adopting more sustainable farming methods, and even allowing parts of their land to become habitats for the cranes. I saw the development of community-led initiatives such as Sora's Rice, where the presence of cranes signals environmentally safe organic farming. As a result, conservation began to create economic value, increasing product quality, strengthening local identity, and supporting locals' quality of life. At the same time, I saw how ecotourism began to bloom. From this, I realized that conservation can become a self-sustaining cycle where ecological, social, and economic benefits support one another. I came to understand it as a cycle where education builds awareness, local knowledge shapes appropriate actions, and communities and youths can become active participants. But one question still remains. How do we bring young people into the system? So to answer that, in 2026, I conducted a youth survey exploring youth interest in experiential learning, links to emotional connection, and key barriers to these activities. And the insights shape my initiative today, which is a youth-led, inclusive, experiential conservation program structured as a guided, field-based journey using the ESCs as a model. Although the program has not yet been implemented, it is designed for future pilot application and scalability across similar socio-ecological contexts. The goal of this initiative is to move beyond classroom-based learning and instead create an inclusive, hands-on experiential model that connects young people directly with natural environments, local emancipatory knowledge, and real-life conservation systems. The program structure follows a progressive learning journey across 4 stages. The first is igniting curiosity. Participants begin with camping and hiking at Khao Yai National Park to build curiosity and emotional connection with nature. They will then build understanding as they learn from conservation experts and zoologists regarding species status and decline, what conservation really is and its strategies, using the ESCs as a case study. Then they will understand coexistence, which is phase 3. They will transition into real agricultural landscapes in Buriram province to observe reintroduced cranes in rice paddies and local conservation efforts put in place. They will also engage in conversations with locals, conservationists, learning from their mindsets and knowledge to ultimately understand how conservation, food systems, and lifestyles are interconnected. During their time, they will also get to witness how conservation of a species can create other beneficial impacts through the rise of Sora's rice and ecotourism, leading to an understanding of the effective conservation cycle. And phase 4, to consolidate their learning, participants will complete a reflective or small research-based output, synthesizing their field experiences and community perspectives, and design at least one follow-up action in their own communities to transform their learning into action. So preliminary findings and design implications. Through a preliminary survey sent out through social media platforms like Line and Instagram, of 31 youth respondents, mostly aged 19 to 22, 3 key findings emerged. The first was that around 74% expressed interest in learning more about environmental issues. And even among those with no prior conservation experience, 80% were still interested in participating. This suggests that youth interest in conservation is strong, even among those with no prior conservation experience. Second, the data supports the role of experiential learning. 77% agreed that seeing animals in real landscapes would spark curiosity. 84% felt that experiencing nature would help build emotional connection. And over 90% agreed that emotional connection may help them recognize the need to protect the environment more. Therefore, this supports the pathway of my initiative from direct experience, emotional connection, and to conservation awareness. Thirdly, around 65% agreed that local communities and experts makes conservation education more meaningful. And more than 45% expressed interest in participating in the experiential conservation program if it were to come to life. However, barriers such as time constraints, limited access, and costs were also identified, showing the need for an accessible and inclusive program design. While this initiative shows strong potential, several challenges remain. Firstly, funding, logistics, and accessibility. Field-based learning requires careful coordination between different stakeholders and considerations of time, cost, and travel to ensure ethical and meaningful engagement. To address this, the next steps are to start with a small-scale pilot program, recruit student volunteers, seek sponsorships, and build partnerships with universities, conservation organizations, local communities, and potential collaborators, such as Food Innopolis, which are currently being explored. Looking ahead, I also plan to explore a hybrid model to make parts of the program accessible to students who cannot fully participate in the field. Ultimately, I do hope that the project can one day act as a scalable model for long-term effective environmental education and community welfare on a global scale. So to conclude, this initiative directly reflects the ISS theme as it pushes boundaries by redefining environmental education from something taught in classrooms to something experienced in real landscapes, seeing real communities, real wildlife, real problems and efforts. Through the ESC's reintroduction, we learned that conservation isn't only about protecting a species, but it's about rebuilding those relationships between people, food systems, landscapes, and wildlife. The proposed model empowers youth to move from curiosity to awareness, to reflection, and finally to action. It positions locals, farmers, and conservationists not as passive subjects, but as co-educators throughout the process, emphasizing inclusivity. As a medical student, I see this as part of health, strengthening the environments, food systems, and communities that ultimately allow people to live well. Ultimately, the long-term goal is not simply to teach young people about conservation, but it is to form a community of youths that understands the effective conservation cycle, their roles within it, and is ready to carry that forward. Because if conservation is to last, we cannot depend only on one successful project or on experts. It must become a shared responsibility. And I believe that that responsibility begins by empowering the next generation to experience it, to believe in it, and one day to lead it. Before the end of my presentation, I would like to acknowledge all the people who have made this day possible and inspired my initiative, including my parents, my family, faculty, because it's our university, the environmental conservationists, wildlife specialists, local communities, the Koratsu, and all the survey participants, as well as all my friends. And thank you very much to Tokyo NODAI for hosting this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. So we was impressed the conservation was made possible by innovating local farmers and communities, not only researchers. We're also learning many young people in Thailand are interested in learning conservation, and that hands-on learning and emotional connection are an effective way to encourage their participation. So for now, we would like to open the floor for the Q&A session. If you have any questions for him, please raise your hand and feel free to talk.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm Mai from Tokyo NODAI. Yeah, your presentation is so interesting because personally, now my thesis research also refers to the tourism economics. I think this is similar with you. And I just wonder, my field is Indonesia, and Indonesia government recently promotes the tourism development, and they provide some policies or regulations. So I just wonder, does your country provide some employment program, or just still discussing in the academic level?
You mean in terms of employment for ecotourism?
Yeah, so like I just wonder, the Thailand government provides some policies or regulation to empower the like some program like you did.
Okay, so yes, in both regionally and locally in the context of Buriram province, which is a province in Thailand where the ESCs have been reintroduced. They have extensively promoted ecotourism in the area. And so it led to economic drive as well as promoting increase in employment opportunities for locals. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. If anyone does have comment or question, yes, please.
Hi, Batin. Thank you for a nice presentation. My name is Martin from Tanzania. I was so interested with your presentation. You talked about, you covered about the climate, and my question is, the climate change, it's not anymore the future impact. It's the present impact. So like the professor in the first stage, she said, it's not something that we will deal with. It's something that we should deal with. So what's your plan in this?
Like you mentioned, climate change, I think it's both a current and future problem. And so I think that my opinion on this is that we should start now in terms of trying to lower the rates of global warming, as well as take steps to improve both the quality of life of locals as well as conserve the environment at the same time. So I think that that's why I initiated this initiative, because I think that youths can be a key driver to change both the future and the current world. So yeah, thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
My name is Faith. Thank you. That was a beautiful presentation. I just have one question. You said the initiative is still in its pilot stage.
Yes.
And the 4 stages of your project,
Yes.
how long do you, if I am interested as a young person to take part in this, how long do I go from the 1st to the 4th stage? Because you said you'll start with hikes and stuff, and then
Yes.
to the very end where people are going out in the field. How long is that supposed to be? Because still there are other activities, school or work on the
Yes.
side. So what is your plan to include this in people's daily life if they want to participate?
So the plan is that the project, I think the project should be set during when universities and schools are closed. So in Thailand, there will be a period of time where both most universities and schools will be closed. So maybe during that break time, and from there, we can plan around, I think, no more than around 5 to 7 days. I think is an appropriate time frame from experiencing nature to building that curiosity to understanding the science behind conservation with zoologists and experts, and progressing to seeing in real life how that shapes the local communities, and ultimately around 1 or 2 days, 1 day for reflection and action.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. So for now, we will move to the next presentation. So please do warm applause for him again.
Right. Our next presenter is Miss Wang Choi. Right? Wang Choi. Hi. Heng from Cambodia, and she's here to give a presentation on please give a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Oh. Um,
So while she prepares, let me pronounce her presentation title. Transforming Agricultural Waste into Sustainable Soil Mixture for Kill, Brassica oleracea variety acifala production, a student-led initiative.
okay, thank you, Glenn. First of all, please allow me to say good morning, everyone. And my name is Heng Wanjie. I know it's difficult to pronounce. Okay, let me to introduce again. My name is Heng Wanjie from Royal Universities of Agriculture from Cambodia. And today I would like to represent my research project entitled Transforming Agricultural Waste into Sustainable Soil Mixtures for Crop Production. That these studies come from the thing that I noted in our community that always face for two challenges. The first one is poor soil condition for vegetable production, and the second one is the accumulations of agricultural waste. So I want to explore either agricultural waste could be transformed to something useful and help solve the soil select problem. Okay, so before talking about the experiment, I would like to tell you something about the problem behind the study. That in Cambodia, we clay soil is widely distributed and commonly used for vegetable production. And however, the clay soil is always not ideal because it have the high poor drainage, high compaction, and limited up erosion. So these conditions can restrict the root growth and also reduce the crop productivity. And this is especially important for your barn farming and household system that growing the vegetable under the poor condition and for the limited space, especially in the city. The poor soil condition can reduce their growth here and also food production. So at the same time, agricultural was residue such as the rice husk and coconut byproduct always generate a light quantity every year. And unfortunately, many of the materials are still burned and discarded, contributing into environmental pollution. So I'm start asking myself a simple question that instead of treating agricultural waste as a problem, can we just use it to more support to vegetable production? So question is the foundation of this research. For this study, I select cows as the test crop. Due to cows is a nutrient-dense leafy vegetable that grow relatively quickly and becoming increasingly popular among consumers in Cambodia right now. And it also suitable for port cultivation and urban farming. And also in this study, I select for two agricultural waste, which is the first one is rice husk that is the hot topic since yesterday. Yeah, that the right house spicer is which known has improving soil structures and nutrient retention, and the second one is cocoa peat that has the excellent water holding capacity and contain the moisture. So I expect that these all materials could be have overcome some of limitation of clay soil associate. And for this, to test this idea, I conduct the part experiment using the completely randomized design, or we can call CRD. And that the experiment consisting with three treatment with three replication, and each replication have 6 spots. So the totally unit is 54 spots. And I also monitor the plant growth and soil physiological characteristics. So the purpose of this is to compare different soil mixture and to evaluate the effect of plant growth and also soil property. And of this slide, I'm just showing like my experiment design during the experiment period. Oh, and here is like the 3 application that I'm doing during my experiment. As you can see, the first one is I make it with a clay soil and compost with radio 50 and 50. And the second one, I use the clay soil mixed with the compost and dry husk biochar for radio 40, 40, and 20. And the last one is I use the clay soil mixed with the compost and cocoa peat for the same radio as the second one. And export contain 10 kilos of growing media, and pots were arranged under uniform environmental condition to ensure the fair comparison of this treatment. Oh, and this slide show like some of my picture. Yeah, and the activity that was carried out during the experiment. As you can see, the first image showed the preparation and mixing of growing media before transplanting, and the second image showed the data collection during the growing period. So the measurement were taken regularly or monitored both plant growth and soil property. And this process allowed me to accumulate how the different treatment can influence it both in plant and soil property. And now let's move to the result. The result shows clear difference among the treatment. As you can see, both treatment 2 and treatment 3 improved the cow growth compared to treatment 1. And plant growth in treatment 3 were taller and produce more leaf number, those grown in other treatment. So one thing that I noted in the experiment was that like the planting treatment tree was appear with the healthier grow before the final data recorded. So this result suggests that addition of the cocoa peat provided like the best favorable for the root growth for cows. And this graph shows the visualize the different amount treatment. As you can see, the plant height and number of both increase when agricultural waste are made into corporate the growing media. And the trend is quite clear, especially in treatment 3. And what I found interesting in that, even though all the treatment contain the compost, but the addition of the right house biochar and cocoa peat like provided the more favor for the improvement. So this suggests that compost alone may not sufficient into the limitation of the clay soils. And to better understand the plant grow result, I also examined the several soil property that the results show the treatment not only influence it for plant growth but also like in soil property. That you can see the treatment treatment 3 recorded a higher soil moisture content, while the treatment 2 improved the soil pH and electrical productivity. For this change, have to explain why the amendment treatment performed better than the control treatment. In other words, like improving the soil environment also is improving this plant performance. And this slide, oh, this slide is focused especially for moisture content that among all the treatment 3 recorded the highest soil content. So this was expect because cocoa peat has a strong abilities and retain the water. And because cows is like a lazy contains water water supply, so it is like important for how growth and high moisture content observed in a treatment tree, likely to improve the plant growth seeds in that treatment. And this slide represent the effects of treatment and soil pH and electrical productivity that the right has biochar increase both soil pH and EC compared to those control. So this suggests that nutrient retention is better than chemicals condition. And although the treatment tools not produce the highest plant growth, but it also shown the positive effect on cap feasibility. So therefore, its agricultural waste materials provided different benefit for the cropping media. So like any study, there are some limitations for this study. The first one is the experiment still conduct with the port condition better than the open field. And the second one is the duration of the study is still short. And in addition, the study of agricultural waste materials may already depend on the source of the agricultural waste. So in the future, I would like to evaluate this treatment under field condition and assess their long-term and effect of soils crop production. For the study, it could be like examined to economic feasibility of applying this material on the large scale. And to conclude, this study demonstrated that agricultural can be transforming into something valuable for vegetable production. And both rice and cocoa peat improve like cow growth and soil physicochemical property and compared to those treatment control. And amount on the treatment tree which is contain the cocoa peat show the best overall performance. So beyond the scientific finding, I believe that the most important message from this study is that a material often considered waste can become a part of sustainable agricultural solution. So by reusing the available agricultural waste residue, we can like improve soil quality, reduce the environmental pollution, and support the food production. So this approach contribute to sustainable agriculture, urban farming, and economic welfare and community welfare, which clearly to analyze the ISS theme of promoting innovative solution and society and the environment. That's bring me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be happy to answer any question.
Like she said, she's happy to welcome any questions. So which side, left, right, who first? Okay.
Hi, I'm Noah from NPUST, and I have a question about your cocoa peat before you use on your cultivation. Have you immersion your cocoa peat into a water before you use on your cultivation?
Yes,
Yes,
it's in the water overnight before to increase like the EC of it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation, Ms. Heng. My name is Hanto Gochi from Tokyo NODAI. It's just to add a comment, not a question. You've already mentioned it in your perspectives and challenges. I would recommend that beyond the soil pH, EC, and soil moisture content, it would be important to understand the macronutrients in the cocoa peat and the biochar, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium, because it's also very important for plant growth. Yeah. So on top of the soil pH, EC, and soil moisture, you should conduct tests on the macronutrients. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your recommendation.
Hi, I'm Sukrita from Thailand. So thank you for your presentation. And I have a question for your treatment. Uh, treatment 2 and 3, that's good. To compare with control, right? So what you in your opinion, can you tell us like the idea that you need to choose between T2 and T3 for a long term, because it have like different benefit, right? And for you, would you like to choose among this one?
Yeah, thank you for your question. That's like the good question. For the long term, I'm recommended the right has biochar testing. Then we conduct this treatment in short term. So the cocoa peat is higher for some results. So for the long term, I recommended the right has biochar treatment because it might be like change about pH and electric productivity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I just want to know, where did you get the agricultural waste? That's like because your title is related to agricultural waste, and I believe the agricultural waste used is a rice husk, right? So is it also possible to use like other agricultural waste to this research? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. That's a good question. Yes, it is possible for use another agricultural waste, but I choose these two material because like in our country, we used to use a lot of rye, like more than 90% of farmers produce rye. So the rye husk is available for everywhere, and also the cocoa peat. So I use this like using by the locals available. But in the future, maybe I finding to try the another waste from like the agriculture.
So you got the husk from the local farmers?
Yeah, you find everywhere in my country. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you again. My name is Faith from Uni LaSalle. I just have one question about economics for the farmers, because I'm assuming this is something that is going to be recommended for farmers to use so that their yield can increase. We already talked about the cost of biochar, and now there's already the added component of cocoa peat. So together, all these things, how much will it cost the farmer to buy and implement them to get the increase in yield that is shown in your results? And is this something that farmers will be able to afford to sustainably implement?
Yes, thank you for your question. About the cost, we didn't like use the high cost to this material is available for everywhere, and mostly we don't have to buy it because like about right house biochar maybe like some yesterday we talked about buying, but in my country we have like communities called AC. It's an agricultural cooperative that like the group of farmer that will teach us by like the cooperative about how to make or how to make the right house biochar and other things like compost and everything about agriculture. So mostly a farmer, they can like produce their own like material. So we don't have to spend like about the productive costs.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think we have three people want to ask questions from this side. Job. Oh, it's just Job.
My name is Job from Tokyo NODAI. I want to understand your project. Did you collaborate with your fellow students to have the findings, and how is your project helping your community? And could
okay.
you expound more on how it relates to this year's ISS theme?
Okay, thank you for the question. This is like research project. I just do it as my how can I say, my last year final project. And for the collaboration in the future, I want like request to the AC, as I mentioned before. There's the community that I want to request for, and like providing all this like method to the farmer in the community. And about the question, how this is allied to IAS, of course, yeah, this is allied to IAS theme, boundary pushing boundary accuracy community welfare by. This is used for the smallholder farmer mostly that always fast to like for soil condition. They don't know like how to solve this problem, and this research like provide them the solution of the how to like change or transforming that something that difficult to use or cannot use to be useful. Yes, so this is like answer your question.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think we will welcome our next presenter. If you have no more questions. Okay, thank you very much. Please a round of applause. And for the fourth presenter, Miss Anne Wangari Muthui. She's from Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology.
Hello, everybody. All protocols observed. Welcome to my presentation entitled Assessment of Soil Types, Nutrient Uptake, and their Impact on Yield and Nutritional Quality of Irish Potato in Highlands of Nyandarua County, Kenya. My name is Anne Muthui. I'm from JKUAT, Kenya. I was born in the county of interest, that is Nyandarua County. And this is how the map looks like. The map of Kenya is there. And Nyandarua is found in East Africa. And the counties in the country are numbered. If you don't remember the whole name Nyandarua County, you can just ask for county number 018. It is in the central region, mostly in the northwest of Nairobi, and it is in 5 sub-counties, and the highlighted sub-county Kipipiri was my area of study. Nyandarua is Kenyan's potato basket, producing 33 to 35% of the potato that is consumed in Kenya. And other than potatoes, Kenya also grows maize, normally known as corn, beans, garden peas, cabbages, carrots, and Nyandarua is one of the most leading county in producing all the food consumed in Kenya. I have several problems highlighted, but of interest today, I would highlight the first problem, that potato is a major food and income crop in Nyandarua County, but yields remain slow. We can see that the global production starts at 21 tons per hectare, but Nyandarua still has low at 12 tons per hectare. The aim is to try and see what can be leading to this and also try to address those problems. For the student action, they were majorly categorized into 2. One is the regional survey trying to know what the farmers are currently doing. And the next one was on-farm trials, trying to implement the improved management and see how the yields will be. For the first activity, that's the regional survey, it was conducted in Nyandarua County, where 54 farms were assessed over 2 seasons. And the assessment was based on soil types. This is because it is believed that there are several soil types, and other studies had highlighted that there is a difference in how the fertilizer or nutrient uptake is variates in different soil types. And this was done in a range of elevation, as you can see in our that figure. And the key activities included the interviews, soil sampling, and yield assessment. And in the interviews, we are just trying to look at the farmer's perspective on their soil type, whether they have ever done soil testing, the fertilizers that they apply, and their yields, how they have observed their yields, and also their agronomic challenges. For the regional survey activities, as you can see, these are some of what we did. Interviewing, there were several questions asked. Also measuring the ridge and plant spacing. This was necessary to know the plant population per hectare. Also the collection of tuber and soil samples, which were done, analyzed in the lab for further analysis. Also, we took the individual tuber weight. This was later converted to tons per hectare, and therefore the yields will be addressed in tons per hectare. There was a specific gravity determination. This helps to know the starch content and also other internal quality evaluation. The findings on agronomic activities, we have both season 1 and season 2. These were the questions, some of the questions addressed in the questionnaires. We have whether they were doing crop rotation, manure application, soil testing, the use of certified seed, and also the chemical application. And soil testing and use of certified seed were the rest practiced, and these could have affected their yields drastically. And the spacing between the plants varied. And the recommended spacing of potatoes is 30 centimeters by 75 centimeters, but you can see how the farmers' spacing varied. And also, there was no consistent guidelines that farmers were following. They were just planting anyhow. So on the findings on fertilizer application, as we can see that most farmers relied on the DAP, that is diammonium phosphate, as the base of fertilizer. And we can see that there was large variation of application, where even some farmers were not applying any of the nutrients. And this affects how maybe the yields were. In terms of production, for the total and marketable yield, why I am saying total and marketable, as you can see, for the 65.6% of the total yield meets the standard size, and that is the marketable yield. That's the difference between the total yield and the marketable yield. But the yield specification was 12 tons per hectare. As I had shown in the figure of the FAOSTAT, it is at least they could meet the production. And also the average total yield was 18.3, which was far much below the attainable yield of 25 to 35 tons per hectare. Trying to look at marketable yield per soil type, we can see that farmers identify five soil types, that is forest soil, red soil, black soil, sandy, and white. There is a great variation in yield. The yield were arranged from the lowest to the smallest, but still some farmers could attain the yield, the attainable yield. And this suggests that with improved seed, balanced fertilization, and good agronomic practices, potato in Kenya and highland could achieve the attainable yield. And that's bring us to the activity 2, trying now to do the things on the farm with farmers and see how it could help. And this was done in Kipipili sub-county, as I had highlighted earlier. 15 on-farm were done, 10 in the first and 5 in the second, respectively. And also different soil types were considered. And for these, we tried to evaluate the effects of clean and quality seed, and these we used certified seed, also improved fertilizer, and this was done based on the soil tests. The soil that we corrected, we tested and see what they were requiring, and that's what we applied. Also chemical rotation using different agrochemicals, because from the interviews, farmers were just using either one agrochemical or either they're using different agrochemicals but with the same AI. And this one also we tried to do mechanization in the 2 of the farms, and some of the activities were done using machines. These are some of the activities for the on-farm trials, and we were doing them. There is RAD preparation. As much as I had highlighted that we used machines, the weather was not favorable for harrowing with a machine for some parts, so we could do that, the planting. And after planting, the group was happy. Fertilizer application, first region and second region. Also crop rotation, we could do growth survey, scouting for pests and diseases, and then finally harvested the potatoes there with a very big potato. For those who don't know potatoes, that there is one, and also the yield survey. For the results on the total yields from the on-farm, we can see that the improved management had the highest returns, with the minimum being 3.3 to and the highest 36.3 tons. And with the discussion, I'll just be referring to this one. With the discussion, it shows that clean seed, improved fertilizer, and agrochemicals are all important inputs that can contribute to yield improvement. And as we can see, the highlighted in yellow, they are just showing that there were chances of double yields, and other possible practices which can play a key role in boosting yield or mechanization, irrigation, and crop rotation. And for the second season, that is from number 11 through 15, had lower yields, and still yield gaps still exist, and we look forward addressing these. Some of the challenges were the rainy seasons, and also farmers had poor record keeping. The land sizes were varying, and also there was reluctance of farmers sharing the information. These are some of the dissemination activities that we did involving the farmers and also sharing the information with the farmers. In conclusion, my activities align with the ISS theme, pushing boundaries, by engaging youth, women, and local farmers in participatory soil sampling, field demonstration, and workshop. The initiative provided tangible welfare benefits, including free soil testing, certified seed, fertilizers, and crop protection chemicals, while sharing the research results through demonstration and dissemination sessions. These activities promoted inclusive participation, knowledge exchange, and practical problem solving, enabling farmers to meet and interact, adopt sustainable practices, thereby transforming research to meaningful community impacts. And some of the social impacts were there were increase in yield, improve of food and nutritional security, enhance farmer income, and development of local soil testing and agricultural technology services. Also, there was impact on reduced environmental impact by using the right fertilizer amounts. Those are my references and acknowledgements. Thank you. Asante Nisa.
Thank you very much. Okay. So questions. Ooh. Just then you.
Thank you very much, Annie. My name is Mukalipi Snoya from Tokyo NODAI. I'm a Zambian from Zambia. Thank you for your presentation. I believe if we are to push boundaries to include communities and improve welfare, we have to reduce chemical usage in crop production. On your slide number 7, I observed that crop rotation and manure application differed significantly across seasons. Is there a specific reason you can give us? A follow-up on that one also? Please share to us on the yield, on the same. Why the yields across seasons did not significantly differ. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question and concern about the chemical application. The reason as to why they had to apply chemicals, potato is very prone to cold and Nyandarua is very cold. So if they don't apply chemicals, especially the Fago chemicals, they'll just have zero yields. So for that matter, in any regard, they have just to protect their plants. And on why there was, in many areas, there was significant difference. And this is a follow-up activity to be done. We are still doing evaluation. This is not the end. We'll now have to come up with a conclusive why there is no much significant difference. And that's why I just highlighted on the problem statement, I'll just look on yields. For the rest, still work continuing. Thank you.
I'm wishing you all the best for your follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Those who have questions, comments, additions, contributions, you can keep your hands up so they can help you with the microphones. So, yeah, Matuki, you can go on.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. My name is Toki. I'm from Tokyo NODAI. So my question is the same as Mokalipi, like for the declined yield. So how can you distinguish the effect of soil type with other factors like the potatoes varieties or the climate change? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tuki-san, for your question. As we will still look for the effects on the soil types, but from just the preliminary results, the soil types are mostly forest soil, which are just near the forests. They are not much affected and the yields are better. If I can just highlight the farmer number 11 is from a forest soil and the yields were so much better. So this one is just to highlight. I don't know whether I have answered your question.
Thank you.
Okay, I think during our preparation sessions, you told us that this is part of a long-term study, yes? Yes. So what she has shared is just part of the work that has been done. They are not done in entirety. So I'm sure in the next coming months, she and her team will continue with the rest of the work and they have more information on that. So after here, you can see her for her contact. Then once everything has been concluded, you can get more information on that. Thank you. Any more questions? Right.
Thank you for your presentation. My name is Khalid Hassan and I am from Bangladesh Agricultural University. So I want to know which is the major disease of potato in your country. And I want to, you have mentioned that management practices has increased the yield. So I want to know that, have you ever observed mulching practices in your country and what are the results about it?
Pardon, please. I didn't get the question clearly.
Yes. What is the major disease of potato in your country? Disease.
Major diseases?
Yeah.
Oh, the major diseases are late blight and bacterial wilt.
Okay, thank you. And have you ever observed mulching practices?
Huh?
Mulching.
Mulching practices. Mulching practices not commonly used in Kenya, unless for the just experimental it works, but for us, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. My name is Dewi from Tokyo NODAI. It's just simple question. I noticed you mentioned about Farmers Field Day. Farmers Field Day. So how is it? What is it like? Could you share more about it?
This one, yeah. This one was just to, after analyzing the results, we went back to the farmers and told them of that some of the farmers attained well, and even the farmers could exchange among themselves what they did and the practices they did. And this is helping so much because we don't have to go all the way to Nyandarua to do the same. The farmers can just have groups and interact among themselves.
Is it happens like every year or it's just only for this project?
It happens normally when we are done with maybe season 1, we go back and give them the results. And even when we test the soil, we go back and give them the results, discuss. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so one, Faith, and then 2, and Job 3. And
I go first? Okay. Faith again from Uni LaSalle. I just have 2 questions. One, could you go back to the slide where you have the pie chart? Here. There is one that you say is organic. For this farmer, if I'm assuming for organic, they're not using pesticides or fertilizer that is commercially bought, they're using organic fertilizer. I'm quite interested to know what kind of yield this farmer was getting because as you have indicated, you are introducing chemicals. My second question is about the chemicals. For sure, it's for potatoes, it's complicated. I understand that, but one of the main challenges we have, I'm Kenyan, so utanidanganya. So one of the challenges we have is the chemical cost. For this project, did JQuat fund the cost of the chemicals? And after the project, will they continue to fund the product itself, or will the cost go back to the farmer for perpetuity of the project for the farmer himself?
Thank you for your questions. I would like to address the last one first. For the chemicals during the project, we were providing all the chemicals, funding everything. Everything was totally funded. But after there, we purpose to increase the yield. And for their maybe for sustainability, if they keep increasing yield, the cost will not be a problem anymore. So they can be able to purchase them. Also, for the organic, the farmer using organic, truly the production was high, He was just using the organic as a foliar fertilizer just once. So he have already applied other chemicals, not entirely organic.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Then Yuki. Yeah, Yuki-san.
Hi, I'm Yuki from Tokyo NODAI. Thank you, Asante, for your presentation. I'd like to know how did the ratio of marketable yields against the total yields on the improved management?
How is this? But sorry.
How did the ratio of the marketable yields change?
The marketable of which yield, the activity 1 or activity 2?
I think activity 2 on farm trials.
Here, you're asking about?
Yeah.
The marketable yields were higher still, but I haven't captured it here, but the marketable yields were relatively higher as the total yields are higher.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful presentation. My name is Job from Tokyo NODAI. I'm wondering, there is a certain slide where you said the project has an impact, socio-economic impact, in terms of food security and nutritional security. But on the nutritional security, it's better to be careful because the potato is high in starch. So you need to advise the community, apart from consuming the potatoes, they need to have a variety for a better social impact. That's quite a comment.
Thank you very much for your comment. Thank you. So thank you. I think that will be all the questions and comments. Thank you very much, and please, you can ask her afterwards. Thank you. We are short on time.
Okay, thank you so much for all the pleasant presenters in our groups. So before the conclusion, I would like to share each presenter's key one-word message as a brief summary. So Judith is engagement, and Bastian is experiential, and Banchoi is transforming, and it's sustainable. So let's do the conclusion. So today our group discussed four each different project. Although they focus on each different topics, they all shared one message. Working with communities is the key to creating sustainable solutions. To make research more practical should be shared with farmers and local communications. Sustainable solutions such as eco-friendly fertilizer and then farmer participation help turn research into a real action. However, these activities should not end with the one project. As Judith said, we need to empower the next generation and create opportunities for people to keeping practicing. We also believe that environmental conservation should bring economic benefit to local communities through ideas such as community brandings. Although our project were different, all of project is so different, they all show that sustainable change happens when research, education, and communities work together. This is our group conclusion and recommendation for this year's ISS theme.